Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth, love, and opportunities, while others struggle endlessly despite trying every manifestation technique imaginable? The answer lies in understanding what I call the paradox of attracting abundance. And today, I'm going to reveal why everything you think you know about creating your dream life might be keeping you stuck in the exact reality you're trying to escape. Before we dive deep, let me share something that might surprise you. The universe doesn't care about your vision boards. It doesn't respond to your desperate prayers or your carefully crafted affirmations. What it does respond to is something far more subtle, yet infinitely more powerful: your energetic signature. And most people are broadcasting the complete opposite of what they actually want. Here's the paradox. The harder you chase abundance, the more you repel it. The more desperately you seek love, the more you push it away. The more frantically you pursue success, the more elusive it becomes. This isn't some cruel cosmic joke. It's actually revealing the most fundamental law of attraction that nobody talks about: the law of energetic contradiction. Think about it this way. When you're actively trying to manifest money, what are you really feeling? Anxiety about your current financial situation, frustration that it hasn't happened yet, fear that it might never come. That emotional cocktail is what's actually being transmitted to the universe. Not your conscious desires, but your unconscious emotional reality. The field of infinite possibilities that surrounds us doesn't interpret words or images. It reads vibration. It responds to the frequency you're consistently broadcasting. And if that frequency is rooted in lack, desperation, or need, then lack, desperation, and need is exactly what you'll continue to attract. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's a state of being that naturally magnetizes abundance without any effort at all. It's the state of someone who already has everything they desire. Not someone pretending to have it, but someone who genuinely embodies that reality from the inside out. This is what the ancient mystics understood, and what modern quantum physics is now confirming. Reality is not fixed. It's constantly being shaped by consciousness. But not just any consciousness. Coherent consciousness. The kind that emerges when your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are all aligned in the same direction. Most people live in a state of internal chaos. They want abundance, but fear poverty. They desire love, but expect rejection. They dream of success, but believe they're not worthy. This internal contradiction creates what we might call energetic static, and the universe, receiving mixed signals, delivers mixed results. The secret to breaking through this paradox isn't more action, it's less resistance. It's learning to step into the energy of already having what you want before it appears in your physical reality. This requires a fundamental shift in how you relate to time itself. Linear time suggests that first you work hard, then you get results. But quantum time operates differently. In the quantum field, all possibilities exist simultaneously. The version of you that's already living your dream life exists right now in another probability thread. Your job isn't to create that reality from scratch. It's to tune into the frequency where it already exists. This is why trying to manifest from a place of need always backfires. Need implies absence. Desperation confirms lack. But gratitude for what you already have, even if you can't see it yet, opens the doorway to receiving it. This isn't positive thinking. This is energetic alignment. Let me explain this through the lens of what happens in your nervous system. When you feel abundant, grateful, and at peace, your body releases specific chemicals: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. These neurochemicals don't just make you feel good, they literally change your electromagnetic field. They alter the signal you're broadcasting to the quantum field of possibilities. But when you feel stressed, anxious, or desperate about your manifestations, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. These stress hormones create a completely different electromagnetic signature, one that repels abundance rather than attracting it. Here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you stop needing your manifestations to make you happy is the moment they begin to flow into your life naturally. because now you're vibrating from a place of wholeness rather than incompleteness, abundance rather than lack, trust rather than fear. This is what every spiritual tradition has been pointing toward: the peace that surpasses understanding, the joy that has no external cause, the love that needs no object. When you cultivate these states as your baseline, you become a magnet for experiences that match that frequency. But let's address the elephant in the room. How do you actually embody abundance when your bank account says otherwise? How do you feel wealthy when you're struggling to pay rent? This is where most people get stuck, and it's exactly why the paradox exists in the first place. The answer isn't to deny your current circumstances or pretend they don't matter. It's to expand your definition of abundance beyond just material wealth. True abundance is a state of consciousness that recognizes the infinite creative potential within you. It's knowing that regardless of your current situation, you have the power to create something new. When you feel abundant, you make different choices. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You treat others differently. And these subtle shifts in your way of being create ripple effects that transform your entire experience of reality. Think about someone you know who just has that magnetic quality. They might not be the wealthiest or most successful person in the room, but there's something about their energy that draws people and opportunities to them. That's the power of embodied abundance. It's not about having everything. It's about being the kind of person who naturally attracts what they need. This brings us to another crucial aspect of the paradox. Abundance isn't just about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you need to be to sustain what you want once it arrives. The universe doesn't just deliver experiences randomly. It responds to your capacity to receive and maintain them. If you're trying to manifest $1 million but you have the money mindset of someone who's broke, the universe might send you the money, but you won't be able to keep it. If you're trying to attract your soulmate but you don't love yourself, you might meet them, but the relationship won't last. This is why the most powerful manifestations happen when you focus on becoming rather than getting. When you ask yourself not, "What do I want?" but "Who do I need to become to naturally attract what I desire?" That shift in focus changes everything. Because here's the truth that changes the game completely. The version of you that already has everything you want exists right now, not as a fantasy or a future possibility, but as a real energetic blueprint that you can access and embody in this moment. Every time you choose to think, feel, and act from that elevated version of yourself, you're literally pulling that timeline into your current reality. You're collapsing the gap between where you are and where you want to be through the power of conscious choice. But this requires something that our culture doesn't teach us: patience. Not the passive kind that waits for things to happen, but the active kind that trusts the process while remaining fully engaged in becoming. The kind that knows that every moment of alignment is moving you closer to your desired reality, even when you can't see the results yet. Most people give up too soon because they're looking for external validation of their internal shift. But the quantum field operates on a different timeline than your impatience. Sometimes the biggest transformations happen invisibly before they become visible. This is where the practice of living as if becomes essential. Not pretending that your current circumstances don't exist, but embodying the energy of who you're becoming while you navigate what is. Walking through your day with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their breakthrough is inevitable. When you master this art of embodied becoming, something magical happens. Synchronicities increase. The right people appear at the right time. Opportunities present themselves seemingly out of nowhere. Money flows from unexpected sources. It's not magic in the supernatural sense. It's magic in the quantum sense. Reality reorganizing itself around your coherent signal. Let me share with you the 3 stages of this transformation that I've observed in thousands of people who've successfully navigated this paradox. The first stage is awakening. This is when you realize that your external circumstances are a reflection of your internal state. When you understand that you're not a victim of your conditions, but the creator of your experience. The second stage is embodiment. This is when you begin to consistently choose thoughts, emotions, and actions that align with your desired reality rather than your current circumstances. When you start living from your future self rather than your past patterns. The third stage is magnetism. This is when your alignment becomes so consistent that attracting what you want feels effortless. When opportunities, resources, and relationships begin flowing to you naturally because you've become an energetic match for them. But here's what most people don't realize about this process. It's not always a smooth upward trajectory. There are tests, moments when the universe seems to present you with the exact opposite of what you're trying to create. These aren't signs that the process isn't working. They're invitations to strengthen your alignment. Every time you choose trust over fear during these challenging moments, you're literally rewiring your nervous system for a new reality. You're proving to yourself that your commitment to your new identity is stronger than your attachment to your old patterns. This is why I call it a paradox. The path to abundance often looks like letting go of everything you think you need to be abundant. The path to love sometimes requires releasing your desperate need to be loved. The path to success might mean detaching from your obsessive focus on outcomes. It's counterintuitive, but it's the way the quantum field works. The more you grasp, the more slips through your fingers. The more you release, the more flows into your life. The more you trust, the more the universe demonstrates its trustworthiness. Now, let's talk about the practical application of all this. How do you actually live from this understanding? How do you embody abundance when your current reality suggests otherwise? First, you must understand that abundance is not a destination, it's a decision. Every morning you get to choose whether you're going to live from scarcity or abundance consciousness. This choice isn't based on your bank balance or your circumstances. It's based on your recognition of the infinite creative potential within you. Second, you must learn to feel abundant in small ways before you can manifest abundance in big ways. This means appreciating the abundance that already exists in your life. The abundance of air to breathe, water to drink, beauty to witness. The abundance of possibilities, opportunities, and potential that surrounds you in every moment. Third, you must practice what I call energetic generosity. When you give freely of your time, attention, love, and resources, you're signaling to the universe that you operate from abundance rather than scarcity. You're programming your nervous system to expect more rather than fear lack. Fourth, you must become comfortable with uncertainty. The need to control outcomes is often what blocks manifestations from occurring. When you can remain aligned with your desired reality while staying open to how it might unfold, you give the universe space to deliver in ways that might exceed your imagination. Fifth, you must cultivate what I call quantum patience. This is different from passive waiting. It's active alignment. It's knowing that every moment you spend in the energy of your desired reality is literally pulling that reality closer to you, even when you can't see the evidence yet. The most successful manifestors I know share one common trait. They've learned to find joy in the becoming process rather than only celebrating the having results. They understand that the transformation happening within them is more valuable than any external manifestation. Because here's the ultimate paradox. The moment you no longer need your manifestations to be happy is often the moment they begin to appear. The moment you find peace with where you are while still being excited about where you're going is when the magic really begins. This isn't about becoming complacent or losing your drive. It's about finding a sustainable way to pursue your dreams that actually accelerates their manifestation rather than repelling them through desperate energy. When you master this balance, you become what I call a quantum attractor, someone who naturally draws in aligned experiences not through force, but through frequency. Not through pushing, but through pulling. Not through desperation, but through demonstration. The people around you will notice something different about your energy. You'll seem more grounded, more confident, more at peace. Opportunities will begin presenting themselves more frequently. The right people will appear in your life at the perfect time. Money will flow from sources you couldn't have predicted. And here's the beautiful thing about this process. Once you understand how to apply it to one area of your life, you can apply it to every area. The same principles that work for manifesting money work for attracting love, improving health, and creating success in any domain. The universe doesn't distinguish between your different desires. It simply responds to your overall energetic signature. When that signature is one of abundance, trust, and alignment, everything in your life begins to shift in that direction. But remember, this is a practice, not a perfection. There will be days when you slip back into old patterns of worry, fear, or doubt. That's completely normal and part of the process. The key is not to judge yourself for these moments, but to gently redirect your attention back to alignment. Each time you make this choice, you're strengthening your new neural pathways and weakening the old ones. You're literally rewiring your brain for a new reality. And while this process takes time, the effects compound exponentially. The person you become through this practice of paradoxical abundance will be capable of maintaining whatever the universe brings you, because you'll have developed the consciousness to match your manifestations. You'll have become someone who naturally operates from abundance, rather than someone who's simply trying to get abundant. This is the difference between temporary success and lasting transformation, between manifestations that come and go and a life that's consistently aligned with flow, ease, and prosperity. So I want to leave you with this question. What would change in your life right now if you decided to live from abundance consciousness regardless of your current circumstances? What would be different about how you speak, how you move through the world, how you treat others, how you treat yourself? The answer to that question is your roadmap to breaking through the paradox of attracting abundance. Because the moment you begin living from that place, you've already stepped into the timeline where your dreams are inevitable. The paradox isn't meant to confuse you. It's meant to liberate you from the exhausting cycle of chasing what you think you need to be happy. True abundance was never something you had to create. It was always something you had to remember, something you had to return to, something you had to become. And the moment you make that shift from seeking abundance to being abundance, your entire reality begins to reorganize itself around this new truth. Not because you forced it to happen, but because you finally became a match for what you've always deserved. The universe has been waiting for you to remember who you really are. An abundant being temporarily having a human experience, not a limited human trying to become abundant. When you reclaim this truth, the paradox dissolves and manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Your new reality is not coming someday. It's available right now, in this moment, through the simple yet profound act of choosing to embody who you're becoming rather than remaining stuck in who you've been.